Good morning, Ekoji. Welcome to our Sunday morning service. My name is Ed Sams, and I will be your chairperson today. We are grateful for your presence. Today's service is being live streamed on Zoom and YouTube. This is a special service for us today, our Avon service. Avon is a memorial service for us, but we also refer to it as Kangi A, or the gathering of joy. For it is a time to remember and express our deep gratitude and appreciation to those who have passed before us and for all that they have done for us. If you're new to Ekoji, you will find in the back of each seat pocket a laminated guide, which will help you do the service and answer many questions you may have regarding the service order, as well as the history and the essentials of Shin Buddhism. Our main priority is keeping our Sangha a safe place to hear the Dharma. Although we are very happy to see one another, please be mindful of others' comfort levels in terms of social distancing. Please wear a mask at all times when in the Handa. Thank you for understanding. Ani Naijin's Day is our resident minister, Reverend Nariaki Hayashi. Joining him are Minister's Assistant Eric Ishii, Assistant Rob Fike, and lay leader Molly Kuramoto. Now it is time for meditation and recitation of Nirvana.
Meditation provides a pause that prepares our mind to receive the Dharma, the Buddha's teaching. Please place your hands on your lap, lower your head slightly, close your eyes, and release tension for meditation.
Please find the laminated sheet in the service book in the back of each seat pocket. And we will now sing the Vandana T Sarana, the three refuges. Please rise. Please be seated. At this time, we will have the candle illumination ceremony. To begin, we will chant the Sambutsuge, which is found on page 33 in the service book. Immediately following that, we will chant the Jusei, which is found on page 39, also in the service book. As we chant, each Hatsubon family or individual will be called to the Naijin to have your memorial candle illuminated, which will then be placed on the incense table. The family or individual will then offer incense and gasho or vow. The candle is in memory and gratitude for our loved ones who have passed away since our last Abon celebration. In memory of Anna Daniel, represented by Jim Daniel, brother, and sisters-in-law Christy, Molly, and nephews Everett, Teddy, and Robbie.
Ed Sams, and parent to God's Son.
In memory of Joanna Skillings, represented by Andrea Chapman for Anne Steckner, niece. The Honorable Norman Y. Mineta, former United States Secretary of Transportation, great uncle to, and represented by Michelle Amano. Griffin Evans Hubbard II, represented by Donna Omanta, wife. Hiroko Kamikawa Omata, represented by Donna Omata, daughter. Yoshio Kikukawa, represented by Frank Swithers for Akiko Banks. Maria Seneca, represented by Johnny Kanamaso, friend. Tess Byrne, represented by Scott Hiramoto, friend. John Vance Jr., represented by Andrea Chapman. Don Ho, represented by Frank Swithers for Winnie Ho, daughter. For Jimmy, represented by Andrea Chapman for Frank's significant other. Ryan Waffle, represented by Chloe Bell, Frank. Walter Penny Jr., represented by Chloe Bell, granddaughter. Gary Saturnin, represented by Chloe Bell, granddaughter. Danita Oyenyechi Obojimene, represented by Chloe Bell, friend. Janelle Moody, represented by Michelle Moody, spouse. Nora Reneo Nagatani, a founding member of Ekoji, represented by Bert and Nancy Motonaga, Norman and Gail Kondo, Nancy, Deanne, Gabrielle, and Ken and Nori Nakamura. Miko Grenke, represented by Andrea Chapman for Cameron Grenke, daughter. Herbert Kazuto Oye, a founding member of Ekoji, represented by Carrie Ann Platt, daughter, and family Tomoko Tomita Newsom, represented by Janet Newsom, daughter. Alan Potter Johnson, represented by Frank Swithers for Alana Nee, granddaughter. Phoebe Groko Horio, represented by Brent Horio, son, and Maya Horio. Ed Jim, represented by Branch Oreo, nephew. And in loving memory of all those Hatsubon families and individuals who are not able to register for today's ceremony, represented by Ken Nakamura.
Namo Amida Butsu.
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 Namo Amida Butsu. This morning, the Dharma message will be given by Reverend Hayashi.
Today, we observe our annual Obong Memorial Service. This is a memorial service during which we remember all those who have passed on before us. On this occasion, we remember not only our relatives, friends, and others who we know, but all those who have passed on before us. So let's take a moment of silence to remember our loved ones who have passed on before us. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. In one of our traditional hymns called the Hymns of Pure Land, Shin, the founder of our denomination, stated, "It is difficult to meet true teachers and difficult for them to instruct. It is difficult to hear the teaching well and more difficult still to accept it." In the Oxford English Dictionary, the word teach is defined not just as to give instructions, but as to point out a direction, There are cases then, teaching has nothing to do with giving instructions, but is all about showing someone a way. Many years ago, I got a call from a family member of a man who was a Shin Buddhist, even though the rest of his family were Catholic. And this person was dying. The person who gave me a call somehow found out that her father was a Shin Buddhist and called me and asked me to come over. So I went to the hospital, and when I entered his room, there were a number of family members mourning him. The old man was no longer fully conscious. I did a short chanting like I did this morning in front of everyone, and I put my hands together in Gassho and simply recited the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Then I noticed the man was trying to move his hands. He was moving his hands. Now he was partly paralyzed, so he could not do it, but he was trying. None of the other family members had joined me in Gassho, so they did not seem to understand what he was doing in his bed. However, one of the man's daughter noticed his hands trembling, and while looking at how I was putting my hands together in Gassho, she gently held her father's hands and assisted him in putting his hands with her hands together in the form of Gassho. It was such a heartful moment. After the man passed away at the hospital, the daughter came to me and said, the moment that her father died was not something sad, but very profound. Afterward, I heard that the daughter wanted to understand more about her father. So what she did was she started to learn Buddhism. It seems to me that even though her father did not and could not instruct her in Buddhism, he did show her the way. That he would try to bring his hands together, given the state that he was in, must have made his daughter really wonder what Buddhism was about. It is no surprise that she would wonder what it meant to put your palms together and recite the Nembutsu and want to learn more about it. Her father had taught her without words, but by his action. Then, what might it be that she had learned from her father's wordless teaching? I'm not certain, but one possibility is impermanence in gratitude. Permanence in gratitude. In our tradition of Shin Buddhism, we are taught that funerals, memorial services, graveside services, bedside services, obon service, and other death services are more for us who are left behind than it is for our loved ones. We naturally think that we are doing something for the deceased, but in Shin Buddhism, we are taught the opposite. It is our loved ones who brings out of the busy world to gather and receive the truth of life that our loved ones are teaching us. They are teaching us something very important that we must not overlook and forget. They are teaching us how impermanent life is. We must not overlook the most important truth of life that the deceased show us through their loss of it. Although we easily say that life is impermanent, it is not something we can easily realize and live accordingly to it completely. It is our nature to resist or have a negative reaction or even intentionally try to deny death rather than naturally accepting it as it is. Nowhere more than at a memorial service do we confront the truth of death and try to do something about it. We can make a connection with the deceased by offering flowers, performing rituals, or lighting candles. But in our tradition of Shin Buddhism, the most important thing we do for the deceased is to receive the truth that they are teaching us. Life is impermanent. As Benyo, the eighth master of our denomination of Shin Buddhism, said in the letter of the White Ashes, by so understanding the meaning of death, we shall come to fully appreciate the meaning of life, which is unrepeatable and thus to be treasured above all else. Therefore, because impermanence is an inevitable and undeniable truth of life, by constantly engaging with our loved ones who have passed on before us, we can find great meaning of life. That is to say, death brings meaning to life. So while we thought we were serving the deceased and doing memorial services for them, like today, in fact, quite the opposite. They serve us when we do memorial services for them, such as Obon, so that we can appreciate the meaning of our individual lives. On this occasion of Obon, let us express our deepest gratitude to the true teachers by putting our palms together and recite the Nembutsu Namo Amida Butsu. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. In conclusion, I would like to do a reading, the White Ashes. Please open to 21. I will start off, but please, all of you, please join in immediately together. In silently contemplating the transient nature of human existence, nothing is more fragile and fleeting in this world than the life of men. Thus, we have not heard of human life lasting for 10,000 years. Life swiftly passes, and who among men can maintain his form for even 100 years? Whether I go before others or others go before me, whether it be today or whether it be tomorrow, who is to know? Those who leave before us are as countless and as fragile as the drops of dew. Though in the morning we may have radiant health, in the evening we may be white ashes. When the winds of impermanence blow, our eyes are closed forever, and when the last breath leaves us, our face loses its color. Though loved ones gather and lament, everything is of no avail. The body is then sent into an open field and vanishes from this world with the smoke of cremation, leaving only the white ashes. There is nothing more real than this truth of life. The fragile nature of human existence underlies both the young and the old, and therefore we must one and all turn to the teaching of Buddha and awaken to the ultimate source of life. By so understanding the meaning of death, we shall come to fully appreciate the meaning of this life, which is unrepeatable and thus to be treasured above all else. By virtue of true compassion, Let us realize the unexcelled value of our human existence, and let us live with the Nambutsu Namoami Dabutsu in our hearts. Namandabutsu.
Thank you, Sensei. It is now time for the ritual of Shoko, the burning of incense. This is a time to quietly contemplate and reflect on the impermanence of life. A shoko involves drawing incense from a shared bowl, and we understand that individual comfort levels may differ. We offer this option to those who are comfortable doing so, but note that this ritual is not required. We invite you to come forward to the front tables, offer gasho, and should you wish, place an idana, which is our offering of gratitude, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha in the bowl on the table. Dana is selfless giving and is used to support Ekoji's facilities, temple materials, our service book, and important programs and activities. To gasho is to place our palms together through the circle of beads and onenju, and is an expression of gratitude. By doing this, we welcome into ourselves three treasures: the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. If you are new to Ekoji and would like to participate but feel unsure about the steps, a Sangha member wearing an okesa will be available in the rear of the hondo to accompany you through the process. Please approach mindfully, and once finished, please return to your seats via the side aisles, where we have placed hand sanitizer on both the left and the right. Thank you. Reverend Hayashi will lead us in closing meditation and recitation of the Nimbutsu.
Namo Amida
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida
Namo Amida Butsu.
We only have two announcements today. The first will be by Maya.
Morning, everyone. Okay, so this will be somewhat of a long announcement. Maya Horio, for those who I haven't met, and was one of the co-chairs of our One Festival this year with Andrea Chapman. So we wanted to give such a big thank you to so many of you today. So hopefully everyone got to experience the magic and the stress and the marvel that is the Ekoji Buddhist Festival. It's really hard to explain the experience, right, until you've really lived through it. And for many people in the room, right, this series of one was your first one at Ekoji. For many of us others, it was the first in 3 years. It's amazing what a blur 3 years can be, and how much we forgot, and how much came back, and how much came back only after we've made a mistake. And so there was a lot of learning. There were a lot of changes this year, right? Many of our volunteers had never experienced a volunteer. It was the first time in 3 years. We'd forgotten a lot. We had a lot of changeover in our team captains. We tried charging admission for the first time this year. We had no hot food for the first time this year that we were in charge of. And then we had rain almost all day yesterday, right? So there was a lot going on. But with enormous amount of volunteer efforts and how everyone pulled together. And I think because we hear all the time and try to internalize the teachings of impermanence and causes and conditions and interdependence and all of the gratitude, right? We did have a huge success. We had a number of people who felt like Obon was a great experience. There was a lot of laughter. A lot of people came. We sold out of a lot of food. It was just success all around. And I think just one anecdote from yesterday, for me, kind of embodied what Obon is. So Andrea and we've been texting and calling daily, trying to make sure that we're covering all the bases. You know, we had 10,000 email threads with all the different team captains happening. They were just, Obon is a master tracking of 1,000 different moving parts. And at some point yesterday, my brain had a total meltdown. I think it was just the fatigue or the stress. And so I had, a few people asking questions. And my answer was, I literally don't know how to answer your question. Like I just felt the brain just being like flatline. So, I went and took a break. And in that moment, there were 10 different people or 20 different people offering support, making sure that I had food, making sure that I had water, making sure that I could rest, right? And that everyone would take care of everything else while my brain sort of got itself back together. And that to me really it's the spirit of Obon, right? The meaning of Obon. And I think the reason why we have this Buddhist holiday, why we celebrate today, is so that we can remember and honor the lives and the memories of those who came before us, right? All the family and the friends and the people in our networks and the people just in everyone else's networks around us who taught us to love, who taught us to support, who taught us the meaning of what that looks like. And that made us the people who we are today, and it made us the people within the communities and the community that we celebrate today. And then I hope everyone felt yesterday, right? It's a community of the people who are sitting in this room, the community of the people who are joining us online, the community of all people who came to enjoy the Obon experience. And, I think that to me is sort of the spirit of a one. So I'm sure I've forgotten people on this list, but I do want to, specifically acknowledge a few of the people who really, really contributed so much effort to yesterday. So to our team captains, Bud Ueda, who is our captain of parking, but has filled this role for us for several years now. I don't even know how anyone could replace him, just the knowledge and just sheer willpower of parking force that is Bud Ueda. Eric was the chair of our temple tours and organizing today's Hatsugon observance in conjunction with Sensei, who as always is our supreme religious guider and our guide and lead. Bob Shimokachi worked amazing trash wonders actually, which trash patrol is not sexy, but it is still key to making sure that it's a good experience for everyone. And Bob worked magic where we didn't even have to have a second trash pickup. There's no trash lying around. So thank you to Bob for doing that. Pilar Hillman and Molly Kremoto were our dessert chiefs, and hopefully everyone got to imbibe from the amazing desserts that were donated for yesterday's event. Running the dessert hall, these are no easy feats. Nori Nakamura, as most of you know her, or Mom as I call her, is our sort of queen of the food snacks, right? Working very closely with Gail Kondo and Kim to make sure that we had all the Sam muesli and we had edamame. Lonnie and Kim and Mom spent apparently hours boiling edamame Friday and making sure that we had somen, and all of their amazing volunteers provided all the somen carpets. That was no easy feat either. Kim also made sure that all the volunteers were fed and watered, and she does wonders with cooking and feeding a whole army of people. Rob Fike stepped up as our Shea Vice captain this year and did an amazing job with that. Really, we've lost a lot of sort of our institutional knowledge on that particular booth, and Rob just stepped up to the plate and took it over and produced some amazing Shea Vice yesterday. Thank you to Rob. And Tita Rask also was back as our specialty tea captain and was able to, even though our kitchen continues to be under construction, it was a major challenge. We didn't have a lot of running water and everything else. Tita was able to do a ton of home prep and make a specialty tea again this year. So that was amazing. Ed Sands, front and center here, is our king of vendors. And there was a lot of change with the vendor lineup up to the very last minute. Ed has always done a fantastic job with that. And make sure that we have people here, both nonprofits and folks to sell goods that will also keep the interest of our visitors. So thank you to Ed. Greg Nakamura, who we pulled in, again, is our king of ground setup. He has whole checklists and spreadsheets without which I don't even know how we would manage to get all the rain and tongue and manage to get all the tents and everything. And that was amidst all of the rain that was pouring down all around our volunteers yesterday. So big thanks to Greg. Sensei and Kari were our captains for Kids Corner this year after our much beloved Zugo Keicho moved to the Philippines. So Sensei and Kari worked really hard to bring Kids Corner to life and did a great job. I know my daughter came home with prizes and had a great time at the Kids Corner. So thank you to Sensei and Kari and their team of volunteers. Joran said you weren't going to be here today, but Joran and Tom Cray were our chiefs of finance this year. It's hard to see all of the running back and forth with the cash and the money boxes and Square, making sure we could take credit cards, and Joran and Tom also did a side duty for us as our key IT support, making sure that we could have Wi-Fi coverage across the grounds, which is also no easy feat for this place. Michael Galvin and Stu Ott, who are longtime part of our Samba community, also came back this year as our leads of music and sound, and we are so grateful to them because we have a lot of fancy equipment that no one else knows how to run. And then Brant Florio took over as our youth activities captain this year. Did a great job coming up with games. I know he was under a lot of stress, and for those who don't know, Brant is also my husband and was our chair for Obolon for several years. So he also helped me triage and took care of my brain meltdowns on many occasions. So big thank you to Brant for that as well. Frank Slithers was chief of our assess and assist area and did a number of so many other things. Helped work to make sure that we had police with way and EMTs and all the other EMT, the emergency medical folks. They were there with the ambulance, right? Frank did so much behind the scenes that people didn't see. And so big thank you to Frank for that. Ma also helped with the popsicles and helping with the donating the freezer for our use during the day. And there were just so many people. Andrew and I probably can't even name everyone. I honestly didn't, I forgot my notes in the other building. So it's sort of off the top of my head for all the captains. So I'm sure I forgot people. Andrea was also in charge of our advertising, all of our social media. She is the voice of Ekoji. Took care of the volunteer signups and all the candles and admissions and all of that galore. And then a huge thank you also to all of our volunteers and our attendees, right? Andrea and I were a little panicky about some of the volunteer shifts and coverage, and we had some unassigned volunteers who we knew could be key players, sort of calling them secret weapons, and the Karen family is really there, one of our key secret weapons. Like, as a Dharma school teacher here, it sort of filled my heart to see both so many of our current and past Dharma school students helping out and really playing key roles across the festival. So there were so many people and actions and little pieces, big pieces that people contributed all across these past few months that really led to Award being a huge success. And hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll be able to actually convey some of the numbers. We sold over 1,000 tickets. We had a goal of fundraising $10,000 to the temple this year, and fairly confident that we met that goal, but we'll be able to convey the numbers. So the numbers aside, right, Award as an experience, as a fundraiser, as a huge Sangha and community builder for this temple, I think in all of those areas, Award was a huge success, and we really, really thank everyone who contributed this year to bringing Award back, both for our community and for our Sangha and the temple. So we couldn't have done it without you all. So thank you so much.
Wonderful. And we have one last announcement, and it really isn't an announcement. It's something we're going to do. As is our tradition on a Bone Sunday, we take a group photo. And it's very important that we do that this year. And we're lucky enough today to have our in-house Sangha member, Evan Cantwell, who is a professional photographer. He will take the photo. And I think we have two options. We can do it either in here or in the garden. In the garden, Evan is saying. So everybody, please, let's make our way into the garden, and we'll get out a ladder for Evan, and we'll take a group photo. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. After the photo.